Welcome to Moving Forward, sponsored by MPW Mocklink TV and Mocklink Internet, online at mpw.org. Each weekday morning, our local talk segment brings you the people who are helping move our community forward. Let's start the show.
Thank you, Jamie. It's Tim Scott here at AM 860, FM 95.1, KWPC. We are the voice of Muscatine, and this morning we're talking with Polly from Iowa Memorial Granite Company. Polly, I'm trying to think when I first met you, how long ago it was. It seems like quite a while ago, right?
Yes, my husband and I have been in this business now for 29 years. And we've been doing advertising on the radio since that time.
Well, yeah, I was going to say it's been at least that long. I started here in 1975 when I was just a kid, 15, and I just have always remembered Iowa Memorial Granite being on the air, from way back in the old days. So you started out as an owner of that company, am I correct?
Well, actually, my husband and I started in the business in 1989 under previous ownership, and we purchased the business in 99 and have our sales office now at the Greenwood Cemetery since 2001. And that's when I took over the sales portion of it. My husband has always been doing the production and setting of the monuments and markers.
And is that in Durant?
No,
Wilton?
No, we have our production facility right here in Muscatine, which a lot of people are not aware of. We're located behind Han Ready Mix, and have a rather, it's a small production facility, but there's quite a bit of granite that's stored down there.
Did you used to have it not in Muscatine, or?
No, actually Iowa Memorial started in West Liberty.
West Liberty,
75 years ago, so we are anxious to let people know that we've been around for quite a long time. In 91, it was moved to Muscatine. And
I remembered it was in one of the outlying towns, but I just couldn't remember.
Right. My husband and I are from Durant.
You're from Durant.
Yes.
That's where I got Durant.
And then we also have an artist on board with us, Bonnie Duckett, who is originally from Durant also. She's quite talented and joined our company here a couple of years ago, and has brought a new aspect of the hand etching that can be done on black granite. But the interesting thing is that people don't realize that we're right here in Muscatine. Until you need our services, you just aren't aware where you can find a company that has the monuments and markers.
And what are we talking a lifespan on granite? I mean, does it virtually last forever?
Yes, it does.
It'll last a lifetime, right?
Correctly. It's a material that is impervious to the weather. Marble, which was used years and years ago, is now, we're finding that it's too soft a material, and the lettering, everything fades or deteriorates because it's too soft. Granite is very hard. Once it's polished, it's going to stay there forever.
I've noticed that about some of the older monuments in Greenwood. I've been on the cemetery tour quite a few times. I really like when they do those tours, but some of the really older ones that you go look at, they're kind of fading away now. And you said that was with marble.
Correct. And sometimes people think it's sandstone, but it's actually the marble has lost its polish and it's pitted from the weather.
And then it gets water in it.
Right, the weather elements, and then you just can't read them. And that's kind of a sad thing because they were very beautiful at the time when they were placed out. But now that you can't read the names or the dates, you lose that information. So granite is something that will withstand the weather and other elements and be there for future generations to take note of.
Now, it's been some years since I had to look at a marker. I shouldn't say since I had to, but since I had to make the decision to purchase a marker or a monument. What kind of transitions have you seen throughout the history of your business that when you started, okay, we were able to do this, but now fast forward to today and we're able to put these kind of things on the marker? What does that look like to you?
Well, years ago, the monuments were made by hand chiseling.
Okay.
Because you didn't have the automated tools and sandblast equipment. And so they mainly just had names and dates. There wasn't too much as far as the decorative flowers and maybe praying hands, crosses. Those had to be hand chiseled.
I see.
So then with the introduction of sandblast equipment, they were able to add more detailed design elements. And now that we have the lasers and etching tools that can be like diamond tip Dremel tools that you can do hand etching, you can get more detailed artwork. And you see that through the years, the older, very renowned large monuments that have unique carvings, then they switch to smaller, more compact monuments that had your sandblasted line images, and now you're seeing a lot of black granite with the laser etching and hand etched detailing on them.
I have noticed some pretty ornate ones recently when I'm walking through the cemetery. So you're almost able to take a picture of somebody's face or a scene and put it on now, right?
Correct. When you have a very good quality photograph that can be used with a laser equipment, and you can do an exact duplication of that picture on black granite. You can also do on some of the other darker stones, dark reds and browns, but its best element is the black granite. And sometimes people don't have real good photos because maybe they didn't take a lot of family pictures, or they are worn and kind of faded. And when you have a good artist, they can take that image and draw and make a portrait.
I see.
From those old photographs that maybe weren't good enough for the laser equipment.
What is the cost involved in a marker? I mean, do they have, just like any other business, is there good, better, and best types of stone that you purchase? Or how does that work, I guess?
Yeah, you do. There are granites that are lesser quality. Granite is granite. However, the density of that granite, or it can be more porous, and so it doesn't keep its color. There's like light grays that will soak in moisture, and then they'll tend to look dirtier as they age.
So you're saying like a black is the best?
Your black and your red. The darker the granite, the more red and black you get in the granite, the harder and denser it is, so it doesn't soak in the moisture as much, and so it keeps its color quality longer. And so your lighter colored granites are going to be less expensive. And so when a person is choosing a stone, if they're going for something that's just low profile, where the grass and the dirt may lay on it after the cemetery personnel are mowing and stuff, then they may tend to go with the lighter colors, or if they want to keep the expense down.
Okay.
However, when you're using or when you want a two-piece monument, something that stands upright, you may want to go to the more expensive granite, something that will weather and stay truer to color longer. Granite is not going to fall apart, but the expense, if you're going to spend that type of money, to myself, I would choose a better grade of granite,
Right.
so that it will look nicer longer.
What is the procedure to install those? So let's say one that it's not flush with the ground, but one that sits upright more. How do they do that? How do they make it so it doesn't sink into the ground and still stays at a certain point throughout its life?
Most cemeteries require a good foundation base, and generally we are going to go 3 to 3.5 foot to get down to the frost level with that foundation footing.
Okay.
And years ago, they only did a footing that was the exact same size as the marker, and as you mow the grass, your sod tends to pile up and grow around that marker. And so it tends to look like the marker might be sinking into the ground when actually it's just the sod that's building up.
Okay.
So now we actually put what we call a foundation wash, or a collar of cement extends larger, 4 to 5 inches larger than the stone itself, so that when they're trimming with the weed trimmers now, they are able to trim around that cement and keep it looking nicer for the cemetery as far as maintenance goes, but it also keeps that sod from growing up over the cement and or covering up the stone, kind of like your sidewalks.
Sure.
If you don't trim that grass away, it's going to basically grow up over the cement,
Right.
and your sidewalk disappears. So we do the same application when putting in a foundation for a stone, and then that will keep it from settling.
And you do go down 3 to 4 feet with rock probably, and then concrete on top of that, like a big concrete base.
Correct. And that's something that we stand behind, is guaranteeing the foundation, because once we put that in, we don't want to have to come back and fix it again.
Sure.
Some companies may only put 8 to 10 inches of a foundation in, but your frost in this area is
Gotta
going
get
to
down at least, what, 38 inches? Or?
38 to 42
Yeah.
inches. And that's not saying that some cemeteries you're going to have some issues with a lot of sand in the soil or high water table. And so you may have some issues that may come up. However, we've found that if you stick with that 36 to 42 inches, depending on the size of the monument, you're going to be having a pretty good solid foundation underneath it that you won't have to worry about in years to come.
I imagine it's a little worse down on the island with all the sand down there.
Yeah, and we have some areas with our office being our sales office at the Greenwood Cemetery. We have some areas there that are very sandy.
Really?
And
Okay.
yeah, they're when they go to dig a grave, there's quite a bit of sand in some of the areas there.
You wouldn't think up there on top of the hill like that, but you think you'd have nice dirt up there, but...
No, you never know what you'll get into and with the different cemeteries where the sediment lays and that type of thing.
How is Greenwood Cemetery? Is it getting full, or is there still a lot of room in there these days?
Well, actually, interesting that you asked, because we do manage the business office for the city there at the Greenwood Cemetery. And so we're in take charge of selling the grave spaces and that type of thing. So the spaces that are available, there's quite a few.
Okay.
On the west end of the cemetery, there's areas that haven't even been plotted out yet.
Okay.
And so I don't think the cemetery is going to fill up anytime soon.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm just curious about
Yeah.
that. I know when I was a kid, if you remember where 7-Eleven was there, I think it's just somebody's office now, of course, but there was actually, there's a little alley there, and then there was a house there on what is now Greenwood Cemetery property, but it's, of course, it's just cemetery land now. Do you remember that big old house that was there maybe back in the
I don't remember.
late 60s? Or?
I don't remember, but there is a photo in the cemetery office that shows that farm place that was there. So obviously it was purchased by the city to make into cemetery ground.
So your office is at Greenwood?
Yes, we have a sales office. People that are familiar with Greenwood Cemetery, there is the old building that used to have the chapel, and then the office, the business office for the cemetery. And you have a little roofed-in area, kind of a portico where you can drive between the two buildings. And so we have our sales office in the old chapel, since it wasn't being used really for any type of services. My husband had gone to the city and proposed the idea of a sales office there, and they were receptive to it, and we were able to then secure the contract with the city to do the business office. So we take care of both offices there. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. So
you're the same person I would come to if I wanted to buy grave sites there as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And take care of transferring, looking up genealogy. We have Bonnie, our artist, works part-time at the cemetery with me, but she also works at our production facility down by Han Ready Mix. And we have Mary Ansel, who has been with us since Randy and I started with Iowa Memorial back in 1989. She's pretty much in charge of the production end of it at that office. But Bonnie also helps with the sales and the cemetery office. So we've got both offices usually manned all through the week. Sometimes I'm just the only one there, but it's not a business like Walmart where they're in and out the doors all the time. It's kind of a walk-in. Some days you may have lots of people, and other days it may be just really, really quiet.
Well, now at Walmart, I forgot to wear my smock the other day because I guess I was supposed to check myself out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of strange,
and people come a lot, and when they're looking up old grave spaces, and then they find one that maybe isn't marked, and then we're there to assist them in getting an inexpensive marker for those older graves. And plus, we're there that once they've bought grave spaces, we can give them an idea of the type of monument or marker that they are able to place on those grave spaces. And we don't just do Greenwood Cemetery. We work in all the area cemeteries throughout eastern Iowa. One thing that we're very proud of is that we provide monuments and markers for numerous locations. We have a funeral home in Mount Pleasant, one in Albia, Iowa, Monument Company out of Oskaloosa. We have two locations that purchase monuments and markers from us from Maquoketa, Rock Island Memorial Park Cemetery. We provide for the Merle Hay Funeral Home in Des Moines, Parrot and Wood Chapel in Waterloo. And between those two, they have, I think, 9 locations in Des Moines and Waterloo. So we are far-reaching. We get calls all the time from all over the state of Iowa and western Illinois. So we're kind of proud to have our work.
So you're busy.
Yes, we're very busy, very busy.
And your husband does the markers?
Randy is in charge of all of our wholesale business, providing for the outside locations. He does still do some foundation work, though. As he's getting older, the body is telling him to slow down, but he does help with the production end of it. Moving the monuments isn't a very easy job. They're very heavy, and so he will assist Mary in the production facility. He sets a lot of the monuments, but we do contract other outside labor to help us get all this work done.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I would imagine it's not easy, like you said.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. And people nowadays are using the web to find monument companies. And we're fortunate enough to have our name pop up as one of the first ones in eastern Iowa. And so we get a lot of our leads through our website, which is quite extensive. And our parent company out of Hillside, Illinois, has a lot of large monuments that can give people different perspectives on styles that can be incorporated.
I see.
We also have a computer program that allows us to design monuments specifically for families so that you don't always end up with the cookie cutter style that everybody else has, especially if you want something unique. I was fortunate enough to win a design contest with Monument Builders of North America. I had a hand-carved lion monument that is actually set in my hometown of Durant. And I worked with a lady who lived in Florida. And we were able to do the design concept on our program, choose the color, everything so that she could actually see kind of what her monument would look like prior to it being produced.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a real nice tool. You can change design elements. It's got all kinds of artwork uploaded into it. You put the lettering, name, dates, everything on there. You can change the color of the granite, and then that helps the families decide, do they want to stay with the common gray granite monument, or would they like to go with the black? Or maybe they think red might be kind of nice, but then there's also some blue and other colors. It gives them a lot more options.
Where does this granite come from initially? Is it Italy?
Nope. That would be marble.
Okay.
We get our granite from different places throughout the United States, and the import granites that come from, say, China and India. Blue pearl, one of the most expensive granites, comes out of Norway. It's a very beautiful stone that has a unique sparkle in the sun. We also get granite from Cold Springs, Minnesota, Elberton, Georgia, Barry, Vermont, Millbank, South Dakota is where a lot of mahogany, your brown-colored granites come from. Your blacks we get from, they have an American black that's kind of a gem misty colored charcoal black that comes out of Pennsylvania, but your true jet black is going to be an import.
Okay.
Whether we get it from China or India. We have suppliers here in the U.S. that, reputable suppliers that we work with, that will get the import granites shipped in, and then they ship it directly to us. And we do all of our own work. That's a lot of, you can have it done at the quarry, but we also have our sandblast facility. And with Bonnie being able to do hand etching work, we do a lot of the work right here in Muscatine.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, I want to wish you congratulations on the anniversary of the company, 75 years, is that correct?
Correct. Started in 1943.
Yeah, and you've been doing it 29 years?
29 years.
Any future in retiring anytime
Actually,
soon?
actually, I probably, because I don't like to, I'm not a homebody, so I will probably stay in this business for
Keep
at
working
least
until you
another
can.
5 to 10 years.
Right, right.
Yes.
It's kind of like me. I think, I'd like to retire sometime soon. I'll be 62 in 4 years, but then what would I do?
Yes.
Well,
and
I'd sit at home and listen to the radio and think, I wish I was back there.
Well, and you get a great rapport with families, and they're repeat families. If you take care of mom and dad later on, then when their children come along, they remember the experience of working with somebody who cares about the marker or the memorial that they create for their family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got a lot of lasting friendships over the last 29 years, and families that I have taken care of over and over.
Now, I have to ask this question because I just don't know the answer. Can you also do the brass, what do you call it, headstone?
That would
marker?
be bronze.
Bronze?
Bronze markers, you'll find a lot of memorial parks, which we have one here in town, that they have bronze on granite. And bronze is a lasting material, too, that will patina over time because of oxidation, but it's another type of memorial that doesn't fall apart.
Okay.
It's a lasting material.
Do you mate much of those two things together, the granite and the bronze? I mean, are there many of those things you're involved with?
You will find in your larger towns, say like Des Moines, Chicago, larger cities, that utilize granite with bronze letterings or bronze, say, crosses, praying hands, bronze ornamentation.
Okay.
And they'll use it especially with the black granite because it's very striking.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it depends on the color that you like, the look that you're trying to achieve, and the money that you're willing to spend.
But you could do that too for a person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's been very interesting. Can you think of anything that we missed or that you wanted to add? Or
no, I enjoyed being here today. I hope that there's a lot of people that were listening that would realize that we're here and we're staying around for many years to come, and we hope that we can assist families in creating just that perfect memorial for their loved one.
What is your website?
We're at www.iowamemorialgranite.com.
All right. Sounds great. And all done right here in Muscatine. You're over at the chapel.
At the chapel in Greenwood Cemetery, yes.
I don't know if you'll remember this. It's been a long time ago now, when I was an engineer with Lucas Communications. You guys had called and you wanted some cables ran between the chapel and that other side.
Yes.
And I was with Lucas at that time, and I was the one dispatched to get up in the attic and run those cables over there. And I thought, oh my, what am I getting into here? Because I got up in that attic, and it was kind of interesting to get those cables between one part and the other, but we did it.
Well, that building was built in the 1900s. It was actually on the front of the building. It says 1900, and
there were some old papers up there.
It has been registered with the National Historical Society, and so the city is very dedicated to keeping it in place, and there for future families to come and utilize the services there. And it's got a lot of history.
Yes.
A lot of history. And people they walk into the building, and unique and amazing. The chapel area has the restored stained glass windows and a beautiful oak.
The woodwork
inside,
yeah,
yes.
Right.
So it's a very kind of
it's like a time gone by almost, It's
it's
like
a
walk
reflective
into
place
yeah.
that you can come in and take care of a memorial.
Absolutely,
and
it's a great setting for that
Yes.
purpose. It's a very relaxing setting. I
yes,
think.
it is
Comforting.
Yes.
So,
Comforting. There's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Well, it's been good to see you again.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Yep. I hope you have a great day.
You too.